Hey, what's up? Today is the day I put the engine in. Pretty stoked. So technically it's not called dropping in the engine for me. It's called dropping the car onto the engine. So how I'm going to be doing this is I'm going to be raising the car so the bottom is about here, aka the floor, and then I slide the engine from underneath, drop the car down on top of it, and then pull the engine up. The reason why I do this sometimes is when I do not want to wreck the paint. Because if you're coming in from the top and dropping it, with all this wiring and everything, I've got all this stock stuff like brake booster, brake master, all that stock stuff is not good for space. So it takes up so much of the engine bay already. So it's hard to get them in. And when you're trying to wiggle around like stuff like this, you start scratching the engine bay. And I don't want to do that. So when you pull it from underneath, like the engine comes up to here, so you don't have to pass here, so you will never get close to the spots you're gonna see, right? It's already scratched and stuff, but that's the way she goes. I'm just gonna prevent from scratching it more. But before I put the engine in, I'm gonna do some small things like paint this bracket for the tranny and replace this fuel filter. I found one in the car, like in the cabin. So I'm just gonna replace it, and it's a lot easier when it's not in because I can literally just stand here in the engine bay for now. Yeah, so I'll probably be 2 hours putting the engine in, taking my time, doing the power steering and everything. So this car's going to have power steering. I have to. It's gonna be a comfortable, just quick car for daily driving and fun. So gotta do it. I don't usually do it, but I'm definitely doing it this time. While I was at it, I painted my subframe up a bit. Looks a lot better because yesterday I cleaned off all the grease. I was like, well, might as well put a fresh layer on. Looks great. So I think I'm gonna do this bar too, due to all the stuff I removed is just down to the primer from the factory. So I think it's best to just paint it so it doesn't look all blood. Okay, I got the lower crossbar painted underneath there too, and underneath there too. Looks much better because the paint underneath there was a little oversprayed and all that, so now it's just black. Okay, that's done. So now I'm gonna back the car up a little bit and let the engine down onto something that's not gonna scratch the oil pan, exhaust, and my cross brace. Then I can lift the car, push the engine underneath, drop the car down, then pull the engine from the bottom up. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't do this usually, but it is a good way to do it if you do care about your engine bay paint. And normally I don't because I can usually just paint it with black if it was my other MX-3. But this one I do really care about. It has a very fresh paint job on it. So what I did here is I got the car as close as I could to the engine, picked up the engine with the jack, moved it close again, and then now I'm moving the engine underneath the car. And obviously use jack stands, safety third. And
okay, I got the car over top of the engine and tranny, but it's not perfectly placed. I don't want to wheel it around too much more because I don't want to scratch anything underneath. So what I'm going to do is attach the engine hoist to the front of the car and lift the car up with this, and then guide the car until it's in the perfect spot, then let the car down.
I usually attach this to the front where that plastic is if it's a stock car, but obviously if the engine's into the car, I can't do that because there'd be way too much weight. But since the thing has nothing in it, no tranny, no engine, nothing like that, I can just completely pick the entire car up off the front end.
Okay, the engine's underneath the car with room to spare other than right here. So now it's time to get the engine crane on the engine, and I usually strap to the tranny as well so it comes up level.
The most important part in putting an engine and transmission packaging together is to have everything come up level or go down level. Because if you don't, things get longer. That's just physics for you.
Okay, I got the engine hoist attached to the engine with these chains, and that's just holding it on the engine. So the tranny needs to be pulled up too, because right now there's so much weight on this side from the tranny that it's going to want to angle to the right, and that's how this stuff happens. Scratches. So what I usually do is I get a ratchet strap and ratchet underneath the tranny, loop up to the center, make sure it's grabbing it right in the center, and then right up to where the crane arm is, and ratchet it tight, and then it should come up straight. Okay, the engine's about halfway in, and that's where I need to stop and do the power steering, because it's way easier to bolt it up like this than bolting it up when it's beside the frame. I wiggled the steering pump down there. Now I've got to lift up the engine a little more because that line isn't quite long enough. Okay, my power steering pump's down there, and now I can easily access it and get all the bolts in, put my pulley on, and then maybe even put my belt on. Okay, the power steering's on. It's all good. Even the pulleys are on, even my alternator belt's on. All right, now I just got to get the engine up and into place. Oh, look at that exhaust, it looks awesome. Okay, it's in, all the mounts are on, and now I can take off my strap and the chain. Okay, I'm gonna throw the intake on finally and make sure nothing gets into the engine, and other than that, I should be done for today.
Here I'm using my plastic gaskets. I'm just cleaning everything up on the mating surface, making sure everything's nice and smooth, so it's got the nice seal.
Back a while ago, I got these custom intake gaskets made. They are made out of a weird type of plastic that's compressible. They are reusable, so you don't have to like just throw them out and buy new ones every time. You can pull them off, put them back on, and you're all good.
If anybody wants the link to this page where I got these made, I'm actually sponsored by them now, which I'm super stoked on. They're going to be sending me a whole bunch of stuff, and it's going to be on a lot of parts on my cars. So keep posted for that, and I'm just throwing on this intake, and that's going to be it for today.
Alright, she's in. Intake's on, valve cover's in, engine's in, tranny's in. And now, I just gotta figure out where I want to put my turbo. But that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.